I'm Angel Rivera. I teach for the Humanities and Arts. I have been teaching here for 25 years. I've been teaching courses on Spanish and Latin America, a little bit of film studies, literature, culture, and civilization. So I'm going to do a lightning talk. So entitled Rewriting the Catastrophic in Puerto Rico, Zombies and Science Fiction. I'm an academic writer, but I also write novels. In the year 2016, I wrote my first novel entitled La rabia útil de los muertos, or The Useful Rage of Dead People, related to a catastrophic zombie outbreak. The catastrophic has been an ever-present component in the history of the Caribbean, as we have witnessed in the past few years with the tremendous amount of hurricanes. But also the disasters come from colonialism, imperialism, and the failed promises of modernization. Please just notice the hand in the little corner with the burger. It is meaningful. As an academic writer, I have conducted research on the failed promises of modernity. In the year 2012, I came across a film made in Cuba entitled Juan de los Muertos, or John of the Dead. In this film, I found intriguing how the Cuban socialist system was portrayed, how the Cuban population dealt with the invasion of a zombie horde, on how a mysterious virus can destroy the advances of modern society. About this film, I wrote a long essay that became a conference paper, and that conference paper became quite successful. And somebody said to me, why don't you continue with this line of work? A light bulb went off in my head. I realized that no zombie horror science fiction narrative has been produced in Puerto Rico, an excellent place for narratives about modernity and the catastrophic. One summer, I was thinking about the terrible economic and political situation of the island of Puerto Rico and the decay of its many institutions, but I also thought about the resilience of its population. Drawing from my previous academic research that summer, I started writing a short zombie narrative, but suddenly I realized that I had a novel in my hands. In this novel, an experiment that is coordinated to happen in space, a space station, the University of Connecticut, and the University of Puerto Rico, mysteriously it goes wrong, and a deadly virus spreads out, zombifying the population. A team of virologists find itself trying to survive, only to discover that hamburgers produced artificially by fast food companies will be the only thing that can pacify and control the hungry zombies. Capitalism will adapt and will benefit from any catastrophic situation. This novel works as an extended metaphor and as a humorous and critical reflection about what happens to people when they face violent situations. To complement the narrative, the novel is structured around 10 vignettes, short narratives, of true crime horror stories taken from the news. However, the novel is also about survival, about the psychological and sociological resources we have left in a world where carelessness and technologies out of control come back to haunt us. The response is very basic: love. That is why the novel starts with the following epigraph: if nothing can save us from death, may love save us from this life. The first chapter of the novel starts with the loving couple, the virologist Juanse and his wife Andrea, having breakfast in Connecticut right before the zombie outbreak. But later they will be forced to separate. Juanse, the virologist team leader, is summoned by the CDC and abandons his family to travel to Puerto Rico in an effort to deal and control the zombie outbreak. At this point, I will translate for you part of the novel, one of the last chapters, when Juanse is finally allowed to return to Connecticut from Puerto Rico, and once the virus is under control, thanks to the mass-produced and engineered burgers. However, he does not know what he's going to find home. And I quote from the novel: Andrea slowly opened the door. Juanse and Andrea hugged as if there was no past, or as if the future has no meaning. Only the present was important. Only the pure present in front of them mattered. They kissed and caressed each other tenderly with tears in their eyes. A white cat and a black one came downstairs, purring to greet him. Milo and Sushi were meowing lovingly. Caddy, Kike, and a little girl, ones he did not know, looked at them smilingly, but unwilling to interrupt the first act of love and tenderness they have witnessed in the many months. At that moment, Juan's phone rang. It was from the CDC in Atlanta. He opted not to answer. Decisively, he grabbed the phone and turned it off. This was his real and only heroic act up to that moment. He closed the door of his home. Precisely at that very moment, he realized that the world only made sense with Andrea, her love, and his family. Also, at that very moment, he comprehended that he did not fear contagion, he did not fear history, and he did not fear the apocalypse anymore. To end this short talk, I want to show the epigraph of the novel where the whole thing starts. Y si nada nos libra de la muerte, al menos que el amor nos salve de la vida. If nothing can save us from death, at least may love save us from this life. Thank you.